Today is an era of information explosion in the age of digital technology. While we are getting extensive information from different sources, we are also wondering whether we are getting closer to the truth or further away. In the reporting of recent Hong Kong affairs, different news media players have presented different portrayals of the protests, impacting readers' views and perceptions on the matter. Has the media become a political weapon in the geostrategic games between countries? What does the rise of a new media mean for the dissemination of information? To explore the role and responsibilities of today's media, in the first part, we will have an interview with Hu Xijin, Editor-in-Chief of the Global Times. He is also a key opinion leader with a large following on Chinese social media. And for the second part, when we come back, I'll be joined in the studio by Chen Jingjing, Director of the Center of International Business Journalism at the University of International Business and Economics, and Atul Aneja, Associate Editor of The Hindu. We'll also be joined via Skype by Christopher Chambers, a Professor of Media Studies at Georgetown University. That's our topic. This is Dialogue. I'm Yang Rui. 胡总，欢迎您来到我们栏目，很高兴用中文采访您。大家都注意到，近些年您在国内跟国际两个舆论场上都非常的活跃。关于媒体的角色和形象啊，这个中西方有不同的解读。你比如说有3个问题，我很想请教您。一个是前不久呢，这个傅国豪，你们的一位记者到了香港被打了，他说那个我支持这个警察打我吧。那么很多呢国内的媒体同行就说，媒体的 首要的工作是客观冷静地记录事件，而你不要成为事件本身的一部分。这个我听到身边那些朋友们同行都这么讲。另外一个呢，就是说，你比如在法治建设上，媒体是不是不能够成为一个道德的一个法官？如果你要是这个塑造了这个公众的舆论塑造了这个法院的判决，那人说这不对，你干扰了这个司法程序司法的独立。 还有一个呢，就是外交，比如您以前跟已故的外交官这个吴建民先生的一个辩论是引起了中外的广泛的注意。就是说，舆论如何就是帮忙不添乱，而那个当时的这个已故的外交官吴建民就说，您这是给外交添乱，因为呢，在西方媒体看来，您是一个政治小报，一个 political tabloid and the People's Daily。那么呢，您可能会发泄一种民族主义的情绪。 会煽动一种民族主义的不健康的情绪，对此您坚决的反驳。很多场合您说这是不对的。我想听听您关于这3个事件的分析。
首先呢，傅国豪，我们的记者，他在香港，在现场说，我支持香港警察，你们打我吧。他是在什么环境下说的？他是在被捆住手、捆住脚，别人打他的时候，他说的这种话。他当时已经不是记者了。 他当时对方根本没有把他作为记者对待，而是对他进行威逼，对他进行拷打，而且
亮出自己的记者证呢？
他没有记者证，
没有记者证，
他没有记者证。但是呢，对方当时已经对他进行了这种殴打，完全把他作为一个对他进行非法拘禁。在这种情况下，他说出的话，而且呢，对方拿出了他的包里的一个就 T 恤，那个 T 恤上写着可能是有这个支持香港警察的那样的话。那个，你想你进到一个地方的时候，你的包里是否会有一个什么东西呢？那个东西他又没有拿出来穿，他是放在他可能在之前参加了另外一个活动，那个活动上别人给他了一个衬衫，比如说然后他把这个东西塞到了包里，他到那进行正常采访。 别人呢给他搜出来了，他的包里有这么一个东西，然后拿着这个东西质问他，你为什么要支持香港警察，对不对？他是在那种被质问、被拷打的情况下，别人拿着那个衬衫来质问他的情况下，然后他说出了这番话。我觉得他在当时说这番话，完全是可以理解的，完全是对的。
那《环球时报》对他的声援，不是说他作为我们的一个记者的媒体的同行，而首先作为中国人，大陆的这个血浓于水的中国人，应该去挺他的这番骨气，是吗？而不是说他这个职业做得好。
我觉得在这个时候呢，有双重身份了。首先呢，他是作为一个记者到那去采访的，我们对他作为一个记者能到那个地方去进行采访，英勇的执行自己的工作，我们对此给予力挺，给予支持和称赞。 第二点呢，当他被抓住了被拷打，对方把他当成一个内地人来对他进行这样的折磨的时候，他能够表现出那样的勇气。无论他是一个新闻工作者，他还是一个普通的内地人，他有这样的表现，都是值得称造的。
那么说到另外一个，就是这些年法治建设，在媒体上有好多的故事什么死刑的复核呀，最高法院对山东乳母杀人案的张扣扣事件的，环球时报从不落下，对这些这个社会焦点问题给予了这个及时的社评。那您有没有时候收到一些社交媒体上的反馈，说的胡总您这是无喷的，这个影响了司法的公正，或者您这推动了另外一个力量，形成道德的审判，民间民意道德的审判。您有没有想过give a second thought， 说这样做可能不大对，或者这样做要修正一下？有没有想过这方面的事情？
是这样，我认为呢，这个当有一个审判即将发生的时候，媒体呢都有自己的立场、自己的看法。我不太了解西方媒体在这时候会怎么做，但是我认为中国的媒体是有权利表达自己的看法的，表达自己的看法，表达自己的价值观。但是在这个同时，我们要表达对这个法律的最终判决的尊重，尤其是当法律已经做了判决，我觉得在我们的社会我们即使呢我们依然可以表达自己的观点，但同时对这个判决要给予尊重，而不应当去做一种煽动，认为这种判决就是错的，然后鼓动大家来推翻这个判决。我觉得，除非极个别的情况，在正常的情况下，我认为我们应当尊重法院的判决，这就是我们的态度。刚才你还说到，比如说我和这个已故的吴建民外交官我们之间的这种争论，也是一样。我认为媒体有媒体的权利，媒体不是外交部再官方的媒体它也不是外交部，尤其是像《环球时报》这种市场化的媒体，它更不是外交部。我们完全有权利表达我们对外交的看法，对这个外国尤其是中外发生冲突的时候，我们表达自己的态度和立场。这个时候呢，我们没有义务像外交部外交官他们那样去把分寸拿捏的那么准他们要斟酌每一个词，但我们可以更多的直抒胸臆。当然在这个过程中，我们心中呢也会有大局观，这个国家关系、国家利益，我们不是信口开河，表达自己的极端情绪。我们有大局装在心中，但是同时我们的话语空间应该比外交官大得多。
这个无论是国外西方的政客或者是媒体，包括国内的一些自由派大 V 们，都指责我们的官媒太正能量。那西方老是这个发布中国负面的东西，也不是全面的一个关于中国的一个解读或认知。那么这两个极端对于传播者来讲，作为新闻的实操者来讲，恐怕是一种困惑。哪一端走得太远、太极端，都不利于呈现一个完整的、真实的、客观的关于中国或者其他新闻事件或人物的一个场景。所以这方面恐怕作为几十年的老新闻工作者，胡总您怎么看呢？
我觉得呢，还是实事求是，因为呢，我们确实不是完美的。把我们说成完美的没人信。我总说向外面介绍什么呀？我觉得就是向外介绍一个复杂的中国。那么拿到外国去，它是可信的，是能够打破外界的那种标签式的报道。所以呢，我特别主张复杂中国就是应当我们对外宣传的一个报道的一个基调，这也是一个真实的基调。其实报道复杂的中国是最容易的、最轻松的，你就实事求是的报道就好了。因为中国总的来说挺好的，我们确实看到中国挺好。你看我们的这个民生建设的多好，衣食住行这个面貌整个被重塑了。所以呢，但是我们有问题、有缺点，我们也报道我们好的方面，也报道我们的问题。那么世界 破一个对中国的一个非常固化的偏执的看法，那么看到一个生动的、繁荣的，又是有各种缺陷的这样的一个中国，这不挺好的吗？
Thank you so much, Mr. Hu Xijin. That concludes my recent interview with the Global Times editor-in-chief Hu Xijin. When we come back, I'll continue the discussion on media's role and image with Chen Jingjing, director of the Center for International Journalism, International Business Journalism at the University of International Business and Economics, to Anaja, associate editor of The Hindu, and Christopher Chambers, a professor of media studies at Georgetown University. Stay with us, please. Welcome to our second part of the discussion here. Dr. Chen, do you believe that there is such a thing as unconditional and absolute impartiality in our practice of good journalism today?
Well, that would be the goal, but it will be difficult to achieve that oftentimes in real-time practice.
Atu?
Well, I don't think media has been completely neutral anytime. If you look at the era of the Cold War, it was, if you were following the Soviet media, then they were the good guys and the Americans were the bad guys. And if you follow the American media, then they were the good guys and vouching for freedom and independence, while the bad guys were the Soviets. So, you know, the media starts with certain ideological premises, and it has done so in various shades all the time. But the question is, having done that, do you, after having made your point, also allow a counter view to come within your narrative? I think that's the zone we have to look at.
Let's look at Hong Kong, too. You have been following Hong Kong very closely. Do you think we are able to see objectivity in the media reports by all players?
No, I don't think so at all. And to me, there is a definite agenda from the Western side. And I think you cannot divorce the kind of reporting being done on Hong Kong from the larger geopolitical context, which is the rise of China. I think Western media has been attacking China, whether it is along various fault lines, whether it is Taiwan, whether it's South China Sea, and I see Hong Kong as part of this larger narrative where a certain group which is protesting is being shown as champions of human rights. And to me, who has done color revolutions in the Middle East before coming here, I am very struck by the yellow color. I did 2009 Iran elections, which was all green, and this time it's yellow. So to me, and then it was also very clear in the case of the Egyptian so-called revolution that it was being supported by the State Department, by a certain organization. I remember this was the Academy of Change, which was there in Doha, and then there was the Otpor movement in Yugoslavia, to which the leaders of the April 6th youth movement, which was leading in that struggle, had very strong connections facilitated by the Americans. So while there may be certain genuine grievances of the people on the ground, but I think sooner or later it gets hijacked by a much larger geopolitical agenda. I see shades of that in Hong Kong as well.
Let me go to Professor Christopher Chambers with Georgetown University. Because recently, for example, CNN Hong Kong apologized for an erroneous report of the Hong Kong protests. What do you think of the apologetic letter?
Yes, well, I think they had to apologize. I mean, they were caught in an obvious mistake that was so obvious that it couldn't have been a mistake. Especially for a large news organization like that, you cannot mess up a headline like that and stay in business. Of course, you know, in America, we do allow a news outlet to kind of retract. That's kind of a standard thing for 100 years. The problem is you retract on it. You can retract or apologize for a genuine mistake. You don't get to retract or apologize for something that's so egregious that it looks intentional, if you understand my meaning. I mean, this looked almost intentional. There are some mistakes that are honest mistakes, but there are some mistakes that you just do not expect a gigantic media conglomerate like CNN to make unless there is some intention there to hurt or to obfuscate the news. And I think that this is just some way of them to try to a very ham-fisted way for them to hide that, basically.
What do you think of the ideological lines often employed by those in the West who declare that they try to practice good journalism? For example, when Putin first took office, in almost all Western media reports, Putin would always be mentioned as Vladimir Putin, former KGB agent. But Russians complain bitterly that when they talk about President Bush, they never say Bush, former CIA director. And whenever the West talks about China, they would always say communist China, or state-run media, so on and so forth. They use the label. Do you think this reflects somehow the bias, the prejudice, the ideological lines, or do you think this is a part of their objective report?
Oh, this is definitely a bias, and it's clear as daylight. I think again we have to put it in a context, because with the collapse of the Berlin Wall, the liberal democracy had won. It was end of history by Fukuyama, and media is an offshoot of that. That liberal democratic representative media would be now, it was a unipolar moment for them as well, that they will be all over the world and they would not take any challenge. And that brings to the other point, when you have organizations like RT coming up, is actually a response and a revolt in a way, that there is not one way of telling a story which is by people who practice liberal democracy. This is a pluralistic world, and it's a multipolar world. And each pole has its own story and its own civilizational ethos on which is reflected in its media. And that's why you have the rise of press TV. The labeling is very common, you can see from the Western side. The latest example, you talk about communist China, now with the elections in India, it always starts with the Hindu Nationalist Party. Now again, there's a labeling which is being done. And this is not, I don't think that the rise of alternate civilizations is something which is acceptable to the West, which thinks that it is a unipolar world which happened after 1989. And more so to accept new civilizations or old civilizations on the rise. In the case of China, this is very clear.
Do you agree, Jingjing, that Western reports cover Hong Kong clearly with an agenda in their mind?
Mostly, yes. Yes. And to actually go to the question you just asked him, yes, actually, when it comes to media practice, okay, we look at headlines. Okay, in the on the platform of new media, we look at hashtags. Okay, you label. Okay, and it's a label. And in this very fragmented era of new media by media convergence, actually, it's a label and the hashtag that matters.
Chinese diplomats in the UK deny vehemently in an interview with the BBC that demonstrators and protesters in Hong Kong should be called pro-democracy activists. Do you think this is a kind of value-added report?
Right. Yes. As we say, actually...
Is that also a kind of a commercialization? Or do you think this is rather a political agenda?
Combined, I would say. Actually, truth or fact, we seek truth. That's actually, as a force of state, that's what journalism or news media are supposed to do. But usually, oftentimes, truth or fact are so many dimensions. We have so many dimensions, okay? But usually, when we actually produce the news, even for the most, ethical, journalist, usually we can only do that two-dimensional, and that would be difficult. And when you say that's just for technicalities, but when you say if we have attached certain kind of ideologies, sure, especially during this very specific time, especially let's take Iraqi war and the U.S. government's relationship with the media back then was all the same story.
Let me go back to Chris.
Yes.
What is the most important things you want to tell your students, those majors of journalistic studies? What do you think should be the principles that they must uphold?
Well, above all, get it right. Get it right. Do it correctly. Get the facts right. You can have a point of view. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to be fair about it. And let me just piggyback on what your other commentators said. A lot of this from CNN has, say, the patina of ideology, but a lot of it is indeed, and what has been said before, business model. You want to get as many eyeballs and clicks as possible, and demonizing China, and even at some point not even providing any context for the protests serves that point. A lot of times, if you look at some of the coverage in the United States, it isn't necessarily biased towards any protesters in Hong Kong. They just want to show chaos. So a lot of times, many times, some of our citizens, indeed, ironically, don't even know what these protesters are protesting about. They just know that there's, they've just shown a lot of chaos, and that serves the business model as well. That is not getting things correct. That is not what we tell our students.
In some cases, it comes as no surprise that journalists are reviled. They get reviled for consuming the pleasures of a festival. I mean, they tend to take disasters, a festival, to celebrate what they call the display of their professionalism. Let's look at differences, if any, between CNN International and Fox. President Trump is not very happy about whatever CNN says. He calls their reporting fake news, but he would obviously love to choose Fox as his alternative to the daily consumption of news events. What do you think of his perceptions of the two players?
Well, I mean, Fox helped him get elected, and you see, though, his kind of, he will go back and forth depending on where he feels he will get the most adulation. He doesn't get any from CNN, so he attacks CNN constantly. What you do see, however, is Fox News, sometimes he puts them up as heroes, and sometimes he's attacked them. He's attacked them recently. The interesting thing there, and this goes back to my business model comment, is that there is a difference between Fox News, the actual professional journalists that are on, say, during the daytime doing news reports, and the Fox almost celebrities that have their nighttime shows that are basically infotainment for conservative elements in the United States. Those people he has no problem with because they usually have a more entertainment-oriented show. It's the Fox actual professional journalists that he has trouble with, and he goes. You can actually plot a graph as to when he's attacking them and when he isn't. And it's when the Fox professional journalists are doing their job, as we hope CNN would do, and that doesn't do, and often they don't, and they're not doing it with Hong Kong. That's how you can plot a graph as to see what, where he is with the Fox professional journalists. But he's always very friendly with the Fox nighttime celebrity news people such as Sean Hannity, Tucker Carlson, people like that who have these almost entertainment talk shows that aren't really news per se.
Artur, what do you think of the impact of entertainment and commercialization on social media in the age of digital technology? Do you foresee these two mega trends as something that would increasingly characterize the pattern of consumers? I mean, netizens, readers, and audiences. What do you think of their penchant, their tastes in choosing to consume the news events?
No, I think social media has imparted an entirely new dimension to journalism, or let's say dissemination of information. What it has done is, first of all, its reach. Even local events can get globalized in an instant, the click of a mouse. And so there is a globalization of news which follows the rise of the new digital technology in the form of, let's say, Facebook or Twitter, etc. So the reach is enormous. Second thing is that there is no quality check on it. There is no check on whether it is news or it's fake news. I think what it is doing is that without much regulation, opinions come first before news comes into the picture, and there is no way to verify this. So in a way, it's created a news jungle in a way, where the laws and rules and regulations have not been marked. So and that is the reason why Facebook or Twitter have been used as tools in instances like color revolutions. I was referring to you the Iran one, the Iran elections of 2009, where Facebook was used extensively for political mobilization against in favor of a certain candidate. And you find the same when it comes to color revolutions, in whether it is in Central Asia, whether it's in Kyrgyzstan or elsewhere. So digital media and social media is much more than just news. I think it is generating emotions. It is also a tool of psychological warfare as well.
Mm-hmm. Let's look at the importance of editorials. Now, for major media players, we see the growing importance of editorials in shaping public opinions. But that's one thing. The other is Fareed Zakaria, author of several books and the columnist of Newsweek, particularly for the international edition, became host of CNN, and therefore he raises the issue of impartiality. On the one hand, he's a strong, or what we call the critical key opinion leader. On the other hand, he's got the commitment to give objective reporting. Do you see any conflict between the two roles?
No. I think any practitioner or journalist, who's worth his or her salt, will be able to do it dichotomously. To do one and to do the other. They do not necessarily clash. Okay. Well, when we go back to the TV history or media history to the United States itself, actually, we see, Edward Murrow had opinion, and that was the end of, McCarthy. And Walter Cronkite had opinion, and that was the end of the Vietnam War. Really good journalists or anchors, okay, both.
Thank you very much for being part of this dialogue on the role and importance of journalistic ethics in shaping what is called good journalism and good reporting. Let's get it done and get it done properly. Thank you for being with us. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.